got some real questions after seeing this video. Did they leave the cameraman on the moon? With the flag and the dust and the dune buggy? Because the camera followed it as it departed. Did they have Wi-Fi back then? Because how did they shoot the video of that taking off back to Earth? And how did they come back and get the guy that filmed it? And if it was not a guy filming it, then they had something mechanical that filmed it and then sent it? That was live footage from 50 years ago.
Okay, so if I throw a helium balloon, will it fall?
That's helium. That's way different.
So a helium balloon is an anti-gravity device.
Helium is lesser than air.
If I have an object that's, say, 500 tons, will it fall to the ground?
Yes.
Why are clouds up in the sky floating if they weigh more 500 tons?
Because they have helium.
A cloud has helium.
Cloud is a helium, yes. It's a type of helium. Not exact same thing, but it's a type of helium.
You can't make this stuff up. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
What the? Oh my god! What the f is going on? Oh man, is this a dream?
I'm gonna be dreaming, right? Wait. Holy crap, I'm not dreaming. Bro. Please don't tell me you're Googling if a cloud is helium. Please don't tell me.
I'm not. I'm waiting for you to say something.
Okay, so then a cloud is not...
Going into religion, the Bible states that the earth is also round.
I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm talking about the shape of the earth. How do you know the earth's a globe? And by the way, a pizza is round. So is a pizza a globe?
Pizza's a flat circle.
So when the Bible says that the earth's round like what?
I don't know again.
If gravity is real, why is it when I fart, it rises straight to my nose? Gases are scalar, and boy, was that a big one. If the Earth was a globe, why is it that they refer the ocean as mean sea level? Because it's curved. I'll be here all night.
All right. This book is from 1913, and it talks about the firmament. Let's dive in. Just scooped it up from the thrift store, and I bought it just for this word. Check it out. The amount of information in this book is absolutely incredible. Guys, save this video, share it. I'm gonna be doing more. Okay, here's the beginning. This is information they don't want us to have. Alright, firmament. To make firm, fixed foundation, established basis, custom is the firmament of the law, the region of the air, the sky, or heavens. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament, meaning the sun and moon. So do you think we're getting played by NASA or what?
There are over 200 craters on Earth supposedly made by meteors. But what if they're not? Look at them. Massive holes in the ground. but many show no clear entry path, no long skid marks, no directional damage, just perfectly circular impact points, almost like something came straight down. Now think about this. In the Book of Enoch, it describes hundreds of beings cast down to earth, not drifting, not landing, falling. And the number mentioned is around 200, the same number as many of these craters. And across cultures, you hear similar stories, balls of fire in the sky, gods descending, flames striking the earth. So what if those stories are describing the same event? Because when you connect the patterns, it starts to look less like random impacts and more like something intentional. But then there are the stories that make even less sense. Why do so many of them look almost identical? Same shape, same depth, same impact pattern. Not random, not chaotic, almost consistent, like whatever came down was not just debris, but something controlled, something intentional. So the question is no longer what caused these craters. The real question is what actually came down from the sky, and was it ever meant to leave?
So you can see this is a Mercator map, right? Here's Rupus Negro, or the North Pole. And then, of course, the 4 continents that are around there. And then you have these other continents around here. Well, I was watching somebody's video, and they were talking about the North Pole and how those of us who believe in the short season believe that he's cloaked at the north. And I always hear Yahuwah say to me, go look that up. So guess what? I did. And oh my gosh. So I'm going to read it to you, okay? The Hebrew word for north is zaphon. It generally refers to the direction, but it's rooted in the concept of being hidden or dark. It's likely because the sun's warmth is obscured in the northern regions. S-O-N, S-U-N. The key meaning is hidden, or the root, zaphon, suggests that the north was considered a hidden or dark place. Let's see, upward to the north or northern. I just thought it was so amazing. I mean, I cannot believe that. Because the sun's warmth is obscured in the northern regions. Like the word north actually means hidden or cloaked. That's what it says when I looked it up. I'm like, of course it's hidden. Of course that's where he's cloaked. Of course that's where the northern lights are emanating, you know, the colors of his throne room. I just thought it was so amazing, like beautiful, you know? He's always doing that with me. I just am so blessed. I guess people don't use that word anymore, right? I found a Hebrew word for that. It's asheri. He pours his asheri on me and my life. And I hope that he's doing the same thing for you today. Bye.
If the most advanced space agency on the planet, with the biggest budget, the sharpest engineers, and 60 years of experience, still has to bring its astronauts home by strapping them into a tiny capsule, attaching a parachute, and dropping them into the middle of the ocean, hoping a Navy ship is close enough to fish them out. Then how, in 1969, with less computing power than the phone in your pocket, did they manage to fly 238,000 miles through empty space, slow down with perfect precision, descend through zero atmosphere with zero margin for error, and land a spindly four-legged spacecraft softly on the surface of the moon? Not roughly, not almost, perfectly, 6 times, and then fly back. I'm going to break this down in a way that no classroom, no documentary, and no official explainer has ever quite done. And somewhere in the middle of this video, something is going to click for you. And once it clicks, you're going to start asking questions you genuinely cannot stop thinking about. Let's just lay out what we're actually comparing here, because the contrast is genuinely staggering when you slow down and look at it. Today, right now, in 2024, when a Crew Dragon capsule returns from the International Space Station, which is only about 250 miles above Earth, the re-entry process is described as one of the most dangerous and technically demanding maneuvers in all of aerospace. The capsule hits the atmosphere at 17,000 miles per hour. It has to hit a re-entry angle within a fraction of a degree. Too steep, and it burns up. too shallow and it bounces off the atmosphere into space. The heat shield has to hold against temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun. And then after all of that, it falls into the ocean. Parachutes, splashdown, recovery ships, divers in the water, the whole operation. That is the cutting edge of what Earth's return technology looks like in the modern era. Now just take that picture and hold it in your mind for a moment. And now go back to 1969. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin didn't re-enter an atmosphere on the moon. There isn't one. No air resistance to slow them down gradually. No heat shield needed for descent. Just a purpose-built lunar module firing a single descent engine, manually controlled by the astronauts, guided by a computer with, believe it or not, 4 kilobytes of memory, targeting a specific flat patch of gray dust on an alien world they had never physically seen, in a vehicle that had never been tested in the environment it was about to operate in. 4 kilobytes. Your email app, yeah, it uses more memory than that just to load the inbox. And they landed. Softly. Right where they aimed. First try. But here's the thing that really starts pulling at the edges of this story. The lunar module, the vehicle that actually landed on the moon, was never tested in space before Apollo 11. Not with crew aboard. There was one unmanned test in lunar orbit on Apollo 10. But the actual powered descent to the surface, that was the first time it had ever been attempted in a real environment. Let that sit for a moment. You're building a one-of-a-kind vehicle. You've never landed it anywhere before. And you know the first time you try, it absolutely has to work perfectly. On the moon, with 2 humans inside, and there's no rescue option, no second chance, no abort that ends well. And it worked, first time. Now, just contrast that with modern lunar lander development. Multiple private companies and government programs have been trying to build reliable lunar landers for years now. Several of them have crashed. One recent commercial mission tipped over on touchdown. Another lost contact during descent. These are modern programs with vastly superior computers, materials, sensors, and, honestly, decades of extra engineering knowledge. But they keep struggling. And yet, back in 1969, a team working with slide rules and hand calculations nailed it 6 times out of 7. So what's missing? Why do we find it so tough now when they made it look almost easy back then? Is it just luck? Or is there something about the way they worked, the knowledge they had, that we've somehow lost along the way? Maybe, just maybe, there's a kind of expertise built up through hands-on experience and relentless problem solving that doesn't always make it into the manuals or the code. And, well, that's something worth thinking about. Here's where the discomfort really sets in. Apollo 13 is the famous one that nearly didn't make it home. An oxygen tank exploded. The mission was aborted. The crew survived by using the lunar module as a lifeboat, and this event is held up as proof of the program's human drama and ingenuity. But ask yourself this: if the technology to safely land on the moon was perfected in 1969 and successfully used 6 times, why did it take over 50 years to attempt it again? Why did the technology need to be essentially rebuilt from scratch? NASA themselves stated that the original Apollo blueprints were lost or degraded over time. The tooling no longer existed. The institutional knowledge had retired or passed away. You perfected one of the most complex engineering achievements in human history, and then you lost the instructions. Does that sound like something any organization would allow to happen with their greatest achievement? So, here's something to think about. A car manufacturer keeps the plans for every model ever built. A pharmaceutical company, they vault every formula. An architecture firm, well, they archive every blueprint. But the method for landing on the moon, it's just gone. And, you know, when you bring this up, the response is usually some version of budget cuts or different era of documentation, which I mean is technically possible. But it also feels like the least satisfying explanation for, honestly, the most important gap in engineering history. Now let's talk about radiation, because that's another thing folks always wonder about. The Van Allen belts, cosmic rays, all that dangerous stuff floating out there in space. We're told the technology of the time handled it, but honestly, the details are a bit thin. It's one more piece of the puzzle that's left people scratching their heads. In the end, with so many unanswered questions, it's no wonder people keep asking for clearer answers. Maybe, just maybe, it's worth another look. Here's the piece that nobody talks about in polite conversation. The Van Allen radiation belts surround Earth like two invisible rings of intense charged particles. Modern guidance says that prolonged exposure during transit through these belts poses serious health risks. Current mission planning for Artemis includes specific trajectory choices designed to minimize time spent in the belts. In 1969, the Apollo crew passed through them in equipment with no specialized radiation shielding beyond basic aluminium walls. Their reported radiation exposure doses were later described as relatively low by NASA. Independent physicists and engineers have questioned whether those numbers match what the belts would have actually delivered in that era of spaceflight. It's a question, not an answer, but it's one that deserves a straight response. If your brain is now holding two things at once, the official explanation that technically works, and the nagging feeling that something in this timeline doesn't quite connect cleanly, that tension is healthy. That's called thinking for yourself. There are more videos on this page that follow these threads further. The missions, the timelines, the things that were lost and the things that were never fully explained. Tap the page, watch the next one, because the story of how humans left this planet and came back is either the greatest achievement in history or the greatest question in history, and you deserve to know which one it actually is.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.